Okay. Hi, I'm Shivan Sarna, and it is a thrill to have Tobias Segal here with me
Thank you.
today. You. Thanks, Tobias. I wanted
Appreciate
to,
it.
yeah, we love you. Tobias runs a beautiful family-owned company, and they have the specialty of ozone. When I first learned about ozone, it was from Dr. Alana Gerbich back in 2017 when we were talking about SIBO, small intestine bacterial overgrowth, and how she used it in her naturopathic practice in Portland, Oregon. She used it for her UC patients, ulcerative colitis patients. She used it for dental issues with people. She used it for women's health, gynecological issues, UTIs, BV. Now there's a new treatment for, is it Peyronie's disease? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Peyronie's, that's correct. Where they inject the gas into that area. So
Into the
quite
penis,
quite
people.
quite interesting results. So
Yes. And the reason why I'm mentioning is that number one is because men's health isn't talked enough about. And it certainly hasn't been something I've gotten into at all. And so I mentioned that because so many of the women here, if you have a man who has that issue and you've been looking for solutions, I'm glad you're here. I wanted to mention that to you. So it's a far wide and reaching set of treatments. Here's my setup. I use it, I got a little bin with the goodies in it. I use it for skin rashes. I use it for female health. I use it for, I had some implants done. I used it for my dental health. I've just really, I cut myself or paper cut, whatever. I'm using ozone. I use the water, ozone water bottle on my kitchen, on my bathroom counter. I am very, very famous for some things, not a lot, but this one, I use the ozone disc in my sink with my fruits and vegetables. So to clean them, because I don't want to get food poisoning again, which is one of the number one underlying causes of SIBO. So this is just what I wish I'd had all my life, seriously, as a first aid kit, with obviously far reaching implications other than just like a boo-boo and a Band-Aid and mercurochrome,
yeah.
whatever you grew up with. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this time to learn from Tobias, and then we're going to get your questions answered. And don't let the gear intimidate you. I tend to have a little bit of like overwhelm when I start to see wires and numbers and stuff. And if I can do it, you can do it. That is a fact. I became a graduate gemologist with all that science, and it was torture. It was so hard for me because I tend to have a little ADD or whatever you want to call it, but I start to get overstimulated. Not with this. It's so simple. It's like 3 steps. This is what I do. I go, I'm not going to be overwhelmed. I'm going to read the instructions. Oh, got it. And then I'm like treating. So it's fast. Tobias is laughing because I'm like, in the beginning, he was so generous with me and he spent a lot of time with me teaching me. And I was like, I'm just reading instructions, buddy. I'm not going to bother you anymore. I got it. It's really simple. So that being said, I'm going to hand things over to him. There is some very exciting news about glycerin and ozone that has taken the naturopathic and natural world by storm. So he's going to talk about that. I'm going to be quiet. I am not leaving. I am turning off my camera and my mic, but I am right here, right there. Mwah. Thank you.
Okay.
Go.
So I'm gonna jump into a PowerPoint. I'm gonna spend a brief amount of time just going over what ozone is, how it works, how you can get it, how it works. And then what I want to do after that presentation is dive into a little bit of that ozone, a little bit of the ozonated glycerin that we're hearing about, and answer any questions that you have, and hopefully, get you guys to understand like what's new out there and why we want to get into this. So I'm going to share my screen. So give me 1 second. 1 second. Okay. And okay. So I would like to refer to this as the power of ozone. It's a simple at-home therapy for everybody. Anybody can do it. And that's what I want to make people very aware of. Like, you don't have to be like this rocket science to do it. It's incredibly easy. You can do this at home anytime you feel like it. A little bit about myself. I love playing around with things. I love inventing things. I love, messing around with things and figuring out better ways to make it work. My goal is to simplify it for you. That's why I'm here. I own Promo Life, and I love to specialize in things. I specialize in all things ozone therapy. What got me into this was my parents had some health issues. They started out with ozone, and amazingly, I saw incredibly rapid change with them. So much so that we continued on the whole ozone therapy path. I got my wife ended up having some health issues. We got her doing ozone therapy. Usually when you see family members who are suffering from something and something works so rapidly, you become such a believer and become so passionate about it. And that's why I love it, because I've seen people who I love benefit from ozone, and it really has honestly changed my life for the best. So let's talk about ozone in a nutshell. Like, what is it actually doing? How does it work? So ozone is incredibly good at fighting off infections. In doing so, it also increases the circulation in your body. So without blood flow, your body's not going to, get rid of things. It's not going to fight off other additional infections. You have to have circulation to heal. It also reduces inflammatory issues, which is a big contributing factor of a lot of chronic diseases. It helps regenerate tissues. So, like a good example is my wife had an 8 mil herniated disc, and we ended up treating her back with ozone, where nothing was working. They were recommending surgery. They were saying, take these opioids. Let's do a steroid shot. Like, nothing was fixing her issue. We treated it with ozone, and within 3 days, she was back to work, walking, and off the couch and feeling like way better. So, I mean, just the speed of recovery from what I've seen with ozone is amazing.
Hey, Tobias,
Yes,
before we move on, this isn't medical advice, and everyone's results are going to be different.
that's true.
And how did you treat your wife? Was it an injection? Was it topical?
We did actually an injection. So it's called a prolozone injection. You put a little bit of ozone gas using a needle into the muscle, and the treatment takes about 2 to 3 minutes. And as soon as that's done, you go back to your daily life. You don't want to physically do any exercise after that, but you just want to wait a little bit. You can walk around just fine. And within 3 days, I mean, she was back on her feet. She's like, I feel substantially better. And like they were recommending surgery for her.
That's
And
amazing.
surgery has about a 50% like rate that it works. So sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah.
So that's an extraordinary set of circumstances. And I don't want anyone to go, injections at home. Wait, what?
Yeah.
So you can start with slathering it on your body first. So I'm gonna pull us back into don't worry, that's like an extreme situation with experts. In the meanwhile, let's talk about the rest of the presentation.
Yes.
Sorry, Tobias. I'm glad for her. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely. And I love bringing it up because it's a good success story. But yeah, so how does ozone work? So, it obviously increases circulation. It helps with your immune system by modulating your interleukin 2, 6, and 8. So these are more technical terms, but in a nutshell, what it's doing is ozone is basically making your body work more efficiently. Your white blood cells actually produce a small amount of ozone, and that's how our body naturally fights off infection. So really, all we're doing with ozone is we're supplementing the body with what it already knows, and how we're supplementing the body with ozone. Our body already knows how to use it, and it can take that ozone and utilize it more to fight off what we're dealing with. So it's not foreign to our body. Our bodies know how to deal with it. Okay, so this is a pretty simplistic picture of what a home setup looks like. You have your ozone generator, you have a water bubbler, and you have we call it a filter system. So this is kind of going to be what your basic setup looks like. In order to get started, the big thing with ozone doing it at home is you do have to have an oxygen source. And the reason why is what we're doing is we're taking medical oxygen or pure oxygen, and we're running it into a machine, and we're electrically charging that oxygen. And what's happening is we're converting that oxygen into ozone. And so we really want to use a pure oxygen source because it's going to get us the most pure form of ozone possible. So in order to get started, we do have to pick what type of oxygen we want to use with our ozone equipment. So the first thing is an industrial oxygen tank. This is what some people do, not everybody. I always like to bring this up because it's a simple way to get it. You can go to like any welding store to grab a tank. The gas is 99.5% pure. It's the exact same stuff as medical oxygen. It's super easy to obtain. But you do have to go down there to get it. That's the one factor with getting industrial oxygen. This is a medical tank. This is the hardest to get. It does require a prescription. So if you cannot get a prescription, don't even consider this option because you're not going to get it. This is going to be the easiest option. This is called a pre-filled oxygen tank. We can ship this right to your door. And this is what they look like. This is about the size. So we can actually ship compressed tanks of oxygen to your door. to be delivered so you can pull everything out of your box and use it right off the bat. That's going to be the easiest way. It will be, it does cost a little bit more to get everything delivered, but there is a convenience factor involved. So those go over really our three main ways to get oxygen. So you have to decide what's best for you and what's going to work for your situation. So let's start diving into the fun part and start talking about treatment options as far as what you can do at home. This is my favorite part. Okay, so this is what we call a sinus insufflation. This is the process of adding ozone gas up the nose. We're not actually breathing the ozone gas. We're just letting it permeate the sinus passages. It takes roughly 15 seconds. And what this does is this is hitting the nasal passage, and we're really lowering our viral load. So like anytime we go out into the public, we're around a bunch of people who are coughing. If we're breathing in some of those pathogens, what's happening is they start to replicate in the sinus passages. And so if we can hit the sinus passages with ozone, ozone's really good. It's really good at neutralizing or deactivating viruses. It pretty much does it instantaneously on contact. And so if we shoot a little ozone up the nose, we have just lowered our viral load. Anytime we lower our viral load, the chances of getting sick drops immensely. Like there's just less virus to essentially replicate in the body to make us sick. And so it's a really simple treatment that if you can do it occasionally, you can lower your viral load, and chances are you probably won't even get sick. One of my favorite options you can also treat, it's great for treating like sinus infections because it'll reduce that infection load in the nose. This is another treatment called ear insufflation. This is a really easy one to do at home. It's just the process of adding a little bit of ozone gas to the ear canals. What I love about this treatment is if you do suffer from brain fog, it is one of the easiest treatments you can do. It's almost like drinking a cup of coffee as far as a pick-me-up. You'll notice that your cognitive ability improves pretty rapidly. You'll notice that your sinuses start to clear up as well. It's great for eye health. And this treatment takes roughly 3 to 5 minutes, to administer. So it's a relatively easy and quick treatment to do at home. You can also do it on kids if you wanted to. It's one of those treatments that anybody can do. This is another treatment women can do at home called vaginal insufflations. This is the process of adding ozone gas to the vaginal canal. This is what my wife has benefited the most from. She used to have endometriosis issues, and we used to have basically that time of the month, it was really heavy. Ever since we started doing vaginal insufflation, or ever since she started doing vaginal insufflations, we noticed that her cramping was way less. Everything started to regulate itself a lot better. And honestly, I think that actually helped make her back feel better, because what I believe was happening was there was some inflammation going on down there. And once we treated it with ozone, that inflammation subsided, and then her back started hurting less. I'm a big believer that, if you have inflammation on an organ, that could push up against like a disc on the back, which could actually result in back pain. So if we can address some of that inflammation issue, a really easy way is doing vaginal insufflations. I've seen a lot of women who have had their endometriosis issues resolve, and also their back pain starts to feel even better as well. So I think it's a really cool option for a lot of women to do at home. The next one is called rectal insufflation. This is the one that everybody can do, and this is going to be the most popular. So rectal insufflation, the reason why it's gained in popularity is because it's very equivalent to doing an IV ozone therapy. So there's a lot of places that are popping up around the country that offer intravenous ozone therapy, where you go into the clinic, they remove some blood from your body, they ozonate your blood, they put it back in your body. So it's considered it's obviously a little bit more invasive, when you pull the blood out. But rectal insufflation is considered almost equivalent to doing that type of treatment at home. So you have access to do these really powerful treatments that are systemic all throughout the body. And so when you're adding ozone gas into the colon, what's happening is that ozone gas is getting absorbed by all the blood vessels in the colon. It's going to the liver, it's going all throughout the body, and basically that ozone is being distributed. And so you're getting this high level of absorption that's going to help fight off these pathogens, that's going to help fight off any infections that you might be having. And hopefully you're going to start feeling more energized. It's going to wake you up. And this is just a really simple treatment that you can do at home, and it takes virtually no time. We're talking, 3 to 5 minutes to administer. This is another option we call it ozone saunas. This is the process of adding ozone gas directly into a sauna. It's about a 30-minute treatment. What you're doing is you're allowing the skin to absorb all the ozone gas. And so that skin's going to intake it. It's going to distribute it throughout the body. I love it because it also increases your circulatory system. So as you're starting to sweat, as your blood's flowing, that ozone's entering the body and it's moving around very rapidly. This is an example of a steam sauna. I know, Shivan, you guys push an infrared sauna. And I found that the infrared saunas work equally as well with ozone. And so it's another great option. Also, the infrared saunas are a lot less expensive and, in my personal opinion, just as effective.
I like the relaxed saunas because that pup tent kind of,
Yeah.
tea cozy. And I like that it's like all encompassed. And then I also like sauna space, but the price point is much, much higher for sauna space. But the thing about relax sauna, which is just a side in case you have one, if you have the one that looks like a pup tent, there is an attachment you can get so it shoots sonic ozone in there and your head's still out. More on that later, but just FYI.
Yeah. And just so everybody's aware with saunas, you can see just like the relaxed sauna and also this sauna, as the doors close, your head actually is sticking out of the sauna.
That's why I call it tea cozy.
Yes, right? And that's super important for saunas when doing ozone, because ozone's amazing. It treats the body incredibly well. It heals us. But the one thing we really can't do with ozone is we don't want to actually breathe the ozone gas. And so all the ways that we're using ozone, we're really not actually breathing it whatsoever. We're administering it to the body. We're adding it rectally. We're adding it vaginally. We're even pushing it up the nose. We're not actually breathing it or intaking it into our lungs. So it's a really, really simple way to, let the body absorb it through the skin as long as we're not breathing it. The only downside to saunas is it just takes a little bit more time for a treatment versus, a rectal insufflation or something like that. But at the same time, like, you're sweating, and sweating is such a key factor with healing. And I feel like the sweating action really benefits the body, immensely.
Right. Again, only for those of you already really into saunas. We're not trying to get you to do a sauna and ozone all today. We're just giving it for those of you who have one. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. All right.
We got a lot of easy ways to get started.
Absolutely. So this is called this is a really cool treatment called limb bagging with ozone. So let's just say if you have fungal issues on your hands, your feet, some type of wound, this is a really easy way to apply ozone directly to the skin or to the nails. We see a lot of people who treat, like I said, toenail fungal issues with ozone directly. It's a great way to permeate and get rid of that. I think it's a big issue. I think it's a much bigger issue than people, realize. That stuff is really hard to get rid of, and you really have to hit it with, powerful stuff. Topically applying something on your nails just doesn't, really it's not going to get rid of it. This is a really great way to apply such a fantastic way to get rid of fungus to the body. You can also use this for, like I said, wounds, cuts, burns, like anything in general that could potentially develop a bacterial infection or something like that. Ozone is considered one of the best modalities for treating wounds. It's such a good disinfectant. Nothing out there really beats it. And the fact that it's incredibly safe, and it's just oxygen. That's all it is. When you compare ozone to, let's just say, like chlorine, I think it works about 1,000 times faster and is about 5 times stronger, yet it's incredibly safe to use on the body. So just a really amazing way to heal wounds or even deal with, like, fungal issues on the skin. This is the ozone water. This is one of my favorite methods to use with ozone. So what we're doing is we're taking ozone gas and we're infusing it into the water, and the water is taking on some of that ozone. And so then what we can do after that is we can orally consume it, and that's going to get into our upper GI. Our body's going to absorb it, and then our body's going to utilize that ozone. The other thing you can do with ozone water that I don't think people talk about enough is you can use it as a mouth rinse. So, like, in the dental side, if you have oral health issues, cavities, gum disease, they say 80% of Americans have some form of gum disease. Ozone water, what it's doing is it's really cool. It's actually eliminating the anaerobic bacteria in the mouth, and it's changing the environment in your mouth. So your good bacteria have a much better chance to thrive and repopulate. What ozone's doing is it's balancing out the pH of the body, or the pH of the mouth. So once you have a balanced pH, you're essentially fixing the terrain of the body. So your body can now start the healing process and getting back to normal. And that's really how it relates to the entire body. What we're really doing is we're almost generating like a reset whenever we use ozone. As we consume ozone in the body, we're killing off a lot of those bad pathogens, and we're setting up our body so our good bacteria can now start to thrive, repopulate, and get back to normal. I don't think that's talked about enough in the field. Like we have these bad critters, especially with like a lot of individuals who have SIBO. They have a bacterial overgrowth in the system, and sometimes we just have to reset that and get ourselves back into the right terrain mode so our good bacteria can take over and heal our body. But this is a really easy option. It takes around 10 minutes to make some ozone water. Great for oral health, great for consuming. You'll notice it's good for gut health as well. You'll notice a huge difference. This is a really cool option. We call it breathing ozone bubble through oil. And it's a really simple method. It's the only way we can actually breathe ozone. So I know I said before, you can't breathe ozone. So this is the only way to do it. And what we're doing is we're using the olive oil that it's bubbling through as the filtering mechanism. So as ozone passes through oil, the oil strips all that harshness out of the ozone that would make you potentially cough. And you're left with these things called ozonides and terpenes. And so you're able to inhale these ozonides and terpenes, and it's hitting the respiratory system. And if you have infections, like a lung infection or sinus infections or anything like that, like anything respiratory related, it's a really good way to eliminate some of those pathogens and hopefully get your body to recover much faster if you have, an infection. So we see a lot of people who do this, who do have respiratory issues, and they always report back to me and say, wow, I feel so much better after I did this, and I got over it much, much faster. And I think, and this is the whole concept of ozone, is we're taking a really, really safe form of sterilizing agent, and that's something that we can add to our body, and our body is utilizing it because we have these if we have these overabundance of bad bacteria and viruses, we do have to reduce that and give our body that fighting chance to recover and survive. And so ozone is our body knows what it is. It naturally produces it. And so, we absolutely know how to use it. So we're essentially just supplementing our body with more ozone so we can fight off whatever we're dealing with. It's really that simple. It's an amazing treatment for people to do at home. And I think more people should. We're seeing a ton of people getting into this at home. It blows my mind every day, the amount of people that I see getting into ozone therapy, talking to people in general. We're seeing, the dental side getting into ozone a lot. I just was talking to somebody. There was like a podcast. I think Andrew Huberman did a podcast, and they were talking about ozone in dental therapy out there. So it's really becoming really well known. People are asking for it because it actually works. And I think that's the big takeaway with everything, is ozone is getting popular because it works. Okay, so if you decide to get into ozone at home, which I think everybody should, we've seen Shivan set up. You saw Shivan set up. I've got pictures of setups as well on the site. The first thing you want to know is, how do I learn how to do this? How do I get trained? How do I make sure I'm using this properly? So we have great step-by-step videos that teach you how to get into ozone. We teach you how to set up your equipment via videos. We teach you literally how to perform these videos. We actually have cartoon videos that demonstrate how to do a rectal insufflation, that demonstrate how to do a vaginal insufflation, that goes over all of the modalities as far as how to do these treatments. And if that's not enough, for some it's more than enough. And if that's not enough for you, you can schedule free setup consultations with our company. We have 45-minute blocks where we can literally walk you through step by step how to perform these therapies at home on your own, and give you video. This is all via video, so we can literally show you each piece individually, how it works and how you're going to use it. And this is all free of charge. Like we're not charging any extra to do this. We believe that if you're getting into ozone, you have to know the right way to do this kind of stuff, because if you're doing it incorrectly, you might tell your friends that it didn't work for you, and that's not gonna be good for us nor everybody else in general. So if we can make sure that you're using it properly, I think the success rate for people getting into ozone and spreading the word is going to be exponentially better. So that's my whole take on ozone and how to do it at home. I hope that was interesting.
Very interesting.
I do want to dive into something that's a little bit new,
Okay.
that's really taking the ozone therapy by storm. And so I hope you guys are ready for this. It's really, really cool. Okay.
Okay.
All
This
right.
is nerd alert, you guys. It's total nerd alert. Welcome.
I'm
We are
gonna,
your
I am
people.
gonna,
We are your
I'm gonna
people.
nerd out. Okay. I'm about to
Okay.
nerd out right now.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Here we go. So there's this thing that's going on right now called ozonated glycerin. All right. And so what we're doing is we're taking, organic USP grade glycerin and we're infusing it for quite a while. We're talking like over a week with ozone gas. Like this isn't just a quick process. This takes a while. And so what's happening is we're almost creating a liquid that has incredible properties that takes on, it's almost like ozone therapy in a bottle. Interestingly enough, this has been made like hundreds of years, like about 100 plus years ago. If you look it up, there's like research papers all on this stuff. It's called glycozone. So Nikola Tesla actually infused glycerin with ozone, and it was on the market in pharmacies over 100 years ago. To me, I find that fascinating. And so what we've been learning is it's kind of been like a lost thing. It kind of just disappeared for a while. But interestingly enough, this has been going strong in Japan for a long time. So this has been going strong for 30 plus years in Japan. They've been doing a ton of research on this stuff. They're finding that it has incredible beneficial properties. So what's essentially happening with ozonated glycerin is we're generating these peroxides in glycerin when we ozonate it. And these peroxides can be beneficial when it comes to healing, when it comes to, like gut health, when it comes to wound care, just essentially anything in general. So like when we're taking ozone gas and applying it to the skin, we can essentially take a bottle of this and do a very similar thing and have possibly similar results when it comes to healing.
So can you like put a little bit on your finger to show everybody what it looks like? And I
I
need to
sure
kind of
can.
do some contextual stuff for you all, and then we're going to get to your questions. But I'll be quiet so the camera will
So
come to you.
so this is what it
Yeah.
looks like. It has about a syrupy consistency, and if anybody's tasted glycerin, it's sweet.
Mhm.
So it does not have an ozone smell. It doesn't taste like
That's
ozone.
huge. That is
And
huge.
and this is one of the reasons why I believe it is taking the industry by storm, because I love ozone gas, I love ozone water, I love ozone oils, but there's a very intense ozone smell with all those components. This has a very sweet, syrupy taste. They currently use glycerin in a lot of other medications. That's usually like a stabilizing agent, flavoring agent. And so it tastes really good. Like, I mean, my daughter is incredibly picky. She'd probably pour this on her pancakes and eat it. It tastes that good. So that's the great thing about this. And so when we ozonate glycerin, there's some issues, that come up during the ozonation process. The stuff doesn't last forever. We've found that it does have a half-life. Typically, if you leave it at room temperature, your half-life, and for people who don't know what half-life is, it means that let's just say if the half-life is 90 days, every 90 days, the potency is cut in half. So after 180 days, that potency is cut in half again. So it basically starts to weaken over time. So what we found is if you refrigerate this stuff, you're going to get close to a year and a half of use out of it. So that's quite a
Wow.
long time, in my opinion. So it literally means like we can take ozone therapy, almost bottle it, and it tastes good, and apply it to specific applications in the body.
And it does not smell like ozone, but it's still really efficient and effective. So that's another, like, if there was a stumbling block. Let's get to some questions. I did put first of all, let's put some love into the chat for you, Tobias. That was
Thank you.
great. That was really
Well,
great.
I have one more slide I would love to
Okay,
go
do
over with
it,
you
do it,
guys.
do it, do it.
And so I think this is going to be this is the bread and butter. I would recommend people take pictures of this slide. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
never said that before. Go ahead.
So how to use it?
Yes.
So I set,
Oh,
if you have
good.
a bottle of this stuff, like, what are you going to do with it? Like, how are you going to use it? So like, the biggest question that I get is, I've heard amazing things about this. I've got this bottle of ozonated glycerin. What am I going to do with it? I'm like, that's why I'm here. That's why we have this information. So let's talk about it. So you can orally consume it. We typically recommend taking a teaspoon a day. It tastes great. You're going to notice if you take more, it's going to cause some rumbling in the stomach because it's doing stuff down there. I was just talking to a doctor. We're going to be doing a study at some point as far as how this stuff works treating SIBO. So I'm really, really excited about that. We feel really positive about it. Another amazing aspect that we're seeing people utilize ozonated glycerin is they're nebulizing it. So what they're doing is they're taking your standard compressor nebulizer you can get on Amazon for like $60, and they're taking the glycerin and they're doing a 10% mixture. This is all easy stuff to measure out, and they're mixing it with saline and they're pouring it into their nebulizer, and they're literally doing using it as a breathing treatment. I've been reading some case studies with people doing it using it as a nebulizer, and people are like, I'm feeling fantastic. My lung issues cleared up. And so like this is
Amazing.
literally like you send this you can get this delivered to somebody, do a nebulizing treatment, boom, you're good to go. Um,
That, that's
you can use
amazing.
it as a nasal spray. Like the guy that turned me on to ozonated glycerin, so he has suffered from he hasn't been able to smell for about 20 years. Okay, 20 years. He started adding ozonated glycerin to it was about a 10% solution to saline, and he started shooting it up his nose. He said within about 2 weeks, his smell had come back. This is after 20 years. Like
Wow.
that blew my mind. Um, Oral mouthwash. You can take 10%, mix it with water, peppermint oil. You now have a really fantastic oral mouthwash that you can use to benefit yourself. We're seeing people using this in eye drops. You can take 1% solution with saline and drop it in your eye for eye health. Great for pink eye, great for probably eye styes, anything else like that. You can take ozonated glycerin, you can do a 10 to 20% mixture in water and put it on the face. One thing that people don't realize with ozonated glycerin is called a humectant. A humectant means that it pulls moisture to the skin. So you're essentially using glycerin as an amazing moisturizer for your skin. So it's a great aid for beauty. And what we're finding is it's fantastic when it comes to age spots. So we're seeing a lot of the reviews that are starting to come in. They're dabbing it on their skin, and the age spots are starting to lighten up. We're seeing people who have brown spots, they're lightening up, hyperpigmentation. It's starting to the color is starting to fix itself. So I think that's an amazing. I think there's a lot of beauty applications that are going to come out there more with this stuff. We're still on the tip of the iceberg as far as what we're seeing, but a lot of really cool uses. You can also use this as a surface disinfectant. So if you have a spray bottle, you can pour it in the water and you can spray it on surfaces, and it will disinfect the surface. Now, this will last for up to 90 days at room temperature. So you can mix it in your bottle of water and it's good for, a month, if not longer. So to me, that's really cool. It's a really cool use for it. And then obviously for wound healing, just you can dab straight glycerin on like a cut, a scrape. And the feedback that I've seen is it's cleared up these wounds relatively quickly. So it's something that, you have in a bottle, you can put it in your medicine cabinet, put it in the refrigerator, you're going to get a ton of life out of it. So I think that's super, super cool as far as the uses. And we're seeing more of these uses come out every day, and how to use. But this is a really powerful slide. It teaches you how to use it.
All right.
And then really quick, I want to go over some of the some of the additional things as far as how glycerin works. Why we're getting into it. You're generating these peroxides, and this is the coolest way that it was explained. And this was going to be like, don't take this as medical advice, but this is how it was perceived to me. They're starting to use it, like it's considered like a half a glucose molecule. It's easily absorbed. So a lot of like sugar gets absorbed into the body relatively easily. And so you're absorbing this into the body, and it's gravitating to these areas that are potentially giving you issues. And then the peroxides are being released, and it's essentially helping your body overcome certain things that it's dealing with. So really good for like skin health. To me, it's amazing. And what you're seeing, a lot of the doctors do out there, which is kind of crazy, is they're actually using it in a form of IVs. And so we're seeing great results with people. And this is in a doctor's office, and I'm not advocating to do this at home. Doctors are starting to IV this stuff with great results. So to me, the possibilities are endless, and I'm excited to see what's happening with this product. And we're going to start seeing more consumable based products come out. Like we're working on a capsule, suppositories, all that fun stuff. So I really want to see, to me, I want to see a really easy treatment for people to treat SIBO at home. You know, it's going to take a little bit of time to get the research out there, but if we can establish a good protocol with some easy to use products, I think we're going to hopefully benefit a lot of people.
Thanks, Tobias. I got 23 and counting questions for you, dude. That's why I'm rushing you along, because
excellent.
I love to deliver to my people their questions.
Okay. And go to if you want to check out the reviews, we have 30 plus reviews on the site, and this is a very recently launched product. So I can't believe how many reviews we've gotten so far, and we've got a 5-star rating on it. Check out the reviews. I think it'll blow your mind. And I'm here to answer whatever questions come up.
Okay, my friend. Question: do you have the larger bottle yet in stock?
We do. So we have it on the site right now. So
so they just had the smaller bottle, and now they have the larger bottle. And go ahead and
as of today.
Thank you. I was like, Tobias, you've got to get that larger bottle for us.
Yes.
Thank you. And then also you can hide your slides. Let's just talk one-on-one.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're great. That was great. The couple of things here, guys and gals. I put the link to his website with my code 10SS for 10% off almost the entire site. And he's got a couple of things that he can't do 10% off, but that's on the page. And I'll show that to you in a minute. But here's the thing: when you get it at home, don't be overwhelmed. Look at a few videos, sign up for that free training where someone's actually going to help you, and get started, because it's wild what this can do for you. I think that he's already established that. What about Hashimoto's? Val's asking.
I mean, that's an immune issue. So, I mean, ozone clearly modulates the immune system. I mean, if you're going to do anything, you know, like that's what we see people getting into ozone the most for, is an autoimmune disease. I think autoimmune diseases are, you know, more and more people are getting those. Ozone is immune. Ozone, let me be clear, is an immune modulator, and it helps your immune system regulate itself, so it's not overactive nor underactive. And so countless people get into ozone to clear up autoimmune diseases. My mom's been doing it for psoriasis. Phenomenal for her. You know, there's no reason why it's not going to work for other autoimmune diseases out there. If it's worked for her for psoriasis, it'll work for other things. Okay.
We have to in order for us to finish in 20 minutes, you're going to have to answer a little bit more briefly.
I'm going to speed it up.
Okay? And I are friends, so I can say things to him like that. Otherwise, if you don't know me, that might sound really rude, but I love you and I want to get to everyone's questions.
I'll speed it up.
Okay. Can you use ozone oil or water to treat warts?
Yes, you can. So,
okay,
absolutely.
Cool. Okay. Lisa, I was first trained by a nurse to do rectal ozone insufflations, but I found them very uncomfortable, always cramped and discomfort. Nurse told me it only kills the bad bacteria, not good ones. But then a gut specialist told me not to do gut insufflation because most of the gut bacteria that helps us digest food are obligatory anaerobes. Any thoughts on this? I just want to say this.
Yes.
Yeah, I know his thoughts on this, but I also want to say it really has to do with the balance of the microbes and the diversity of the microbiome. And so I'll let him answer that. She did switch to doing vaginal and ear ozone and have preferred those to gut administration. Go ahead.
Okay, so if you're having gut issues, you have an oversupply of bad bacteria, you have to kill off that bad bacteria. What ozone's doing is, yes, it's killing off some of your good, but it's generating a better terrain so your good can repopulate. All the doctors that I've talked to say take a probiotic when doing ozone. You'll notice that your good bacteria repopulate, and it's going to overcome the bad, so you're going to feel better long term.
Oh, I love that. Okay, yeah, just the gut expert, the gut specialist, like, do they work with ozone a lot, or are they?
Oh yeah.
No, but I'm talking about with Lisa, when someone told her that, you know, don't do it rectally, like, what is that person who was giving that advice contextual training in ozone? Okay. And I don't know what this is. Any info on success with presumed autozonal dominant optical atrophy? Have you heard of that before?
I'm assuming it's something to do with the eyes. I don't know.
Okay, there's an honest answer for you. Does it work to get rid of staph in the sinus?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I mean, there's so many studies out there that show ozone eliminates staph bacteria. So, absolutely.
And Klebsiella oxytoca. That sounds
Let's just be clear. Ozone will eliminate pretty much every bad bacteria out there.
okay. So we won't go through each strains,
Yeah.
right? Can you use a oxygen concentrator as an oxygen source?
Uh, I don't recommend it because it
Okay.
really complicates the use a lot.
Have you heard of any success with injecting ozone gas to shrink uterine fibroids?
We see a lot of women doing vaginal insufflations for fibroids. We even see a lot of women using ozone suppositories for fibroids as well. Hands down, probably one of the best treatments you can do for that.
How well does ozone work for cellulitis on a limb?
Um, I think that it would work. Well, I'm not an expert on cellulitis, but let me just put it that way. I think cellulitis has a lot to do with like energy flows in the body, and ozone is energy. It's going to help. It really helps with circulation. It helps the body just get that energy flowing a lot better. So if that has anything to help with cellulitis, it may provide some benefits, but I'm not an expert on cellulitis.
How do you clean each of the accessories?
So the great thing is ozone is very self-sterilizing, so there's very
Right?
little cleaning needed. Really, the only thing you're going to be cleaning is the catheter if you're doing insufflation. And that's really easy. You just run it under some water just to rinse it off, and that's really about it. And
Does
the videos show all of that, by the way.
does ozone have a negative impact on beneficial bacteria?
Um, so like we talked about, it's going to eliminate a lot of the bad bacteria, and there is going to be some good that it can eliminate. But that's okay because you have to balance out the terrain in the body for your good bacteria to repopulate. If you have too much bad, it's overcoming the good, and you have to do a kill out. You have to kill it off, and that's where you taking a probiotic as well is recommended anytime you do some form of ozone therapy.
Difference between ozone gas and brown gas.
Brown's gas is hydrogen, ozone is ozone gas, and so ozone's an oxidant. Brown's gas is an antioxidant. I personally believe that Brown's gas is a fantastic adjunct to ozone. If you use Brown's gas, it basically sets the body up to receive ozone much more effectively.
Will it help with old scarring?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, ozone has been shown to revitalize collagen. So think about the whole Peyronie's conversation we had. That's all that is scar tissue. And so what it's doing is when you inject it, it's fixing that collagen, so it's straightening it out. So yeah, we see a lot of beauty applications where they're actually injecting. Usually it's sub-Q or subdermis where they're injecting the ozone gas to get rid of the scar.
Do you recommend taking something for nausea prior to treatment? I've never heard of it creating nausea. Have you?
It maybe for some. No, I don't recommend it. I just recommend going at a slow pace. Like
Yeah.
just start out like with a small amount, see how you do, and then your body's gonna eventually figure it out, and then you can start increasing the dose.
Joe's asking, should one discontinue antioxidants when taking ozone oil or ozone water? Interesting question.
No, because you can absolutely take your antioxidants, just give it 30 minutes before or after use of ozone.
Carol, interstitial cystitis is so freaking insidious. It is amazing for UTIs. And remember, your bladder has a microbiome as well. And
Yep.
hopefully, in the new Science and Wisdom of Menopause Summit, you watched Ruth Krizz's 2 classes on IC. So go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, anything bacterial related, I mean, ozone is just hands down amazing for.
How does glyceric or any oil infused product compare with high ozonated oil? Is it HOO? Is it the same thing?
Yeah, similar. So like the main difference with ozonated glycerin and ozonated oil is I think you're gonna get similar components built into the product, but the advantage is with this is a water soluble product, okay? Oil is not water soluble. So you can mix this with water, you can
Mm.
nebulize it. You cannot nebulize oil. You cannot mix oil and water together for like a disinfectant. You can't put it as a mouthwash. This is just an easier product to use.
It's a
I still
delivery
think
system.
it's a delivery system. I still think ozone oils are amazing. They have fantastic. Their ability to stay on the surface of the skin is better, but this is just a different delivery mechanism, and it's a little bit easier to use, in my opinion.
Lou, can it help with mold illness?
I would be really curious to see how rest using it as a nebulizing ozonated glycerin would work, and just the fact that that person that I was discussing earlier could not smell for 20 years and then did
Amazing.
uh, he sprayed up his sinuses and could start to smell again tells me that it would there's probably something that's going on there that it could benefit with mold issues.
Darlene, direct application as in wound healing for fungal nails. Wound healing for fungal nails. Or
There's not a lot of research out there about applying this to fungal nails. I'm sure more will come out. I know ozone oils are great for that, that we're seeing a lot of good feedback with ozone oils. And also, like when I was discussing ozone limb bagging, that's a great way to apply ozone gas directly to the source. That's a tough one to get. That's a tough one to get rid of.
So he's talking about like this is limb bagging. This is the
Yep.
bag. This is the limb. Obviously, I would not have my sweater on, but like that's what we're talking about. We literally bag it, and it has this gasket, if you will, over it at the end, and then the gas goes in there, and it's like the easiest thing you've ever done in your life.
Yeah, and great way to treat fungal nails, fungal issues. I mean, we're seeing, people that's becoming a more common treatment. You're seeing clinics starting to offer that for fungal treatments as well. So, but here's the thing: when you do this stuff in a clinic, if you're treating yourself in a clinic, you're gonna have to do this multiple times. That gets pricey. Like this is something you have it at home. You can do this every day if you feel like it, and it costs pennies to operate the equipment.
What is the customer service email if they have questions?
We like to direct everything to sales@promolife.com. It'll go to our entire customer service sales staff. So I believe that our sales also have to do customer service because if they know the products, they have to also know how to service the products.
So someone was just asking me, and I think you had the wrong customer service email, so I just popped it into your
okay
question thing. What type of bag should be used for bagging? You need to buy the specialized bag that they have.
Get the bag with the seal. You'll love it.
You'll love it.
Using it 10
so much
times
better
easier
than like a garbage bag with tape. No.
Yeah, we don't want to use that.
So. Don't do that. Sonette, the link is in the chat for everything on his site, as well as like the specials that I particularly like, and use code 10SS. That's just available for a couple of days for the 10% off. But that's what that code will give you. Oh, plus I have something else. Please provide, okay, so that's the larger glycerin bottle. Any research on microplastics?
Like with glycerin treating microplastics?
I don't know.
Well, I would say I've seen some research out there where they've treated, like this is more clinical based, ozone in blood might have some benefits with microplastics. That's a tough one. Let's wait a little bit for more research to come out.
And Vals, to get the recipe for all these treatments is all on the site. When you're nebulizing the glycerin, do you breathe it in through the nose or through the mouth for respiratory issues, or is it both?
You're gonna do both.
Both. Okay. Be sure you're mixing it with the saline too. Can one mix glycerin with red light therapy? Yeah.
Right? I don't see why not. So
why not? Yeah. Oil pulling for oral health. It's a good idea.
Yes. So,
but don't spit it down the sink or any drains. You want to spit it in the trash can when you're done.
Absolutely. So like a good example is if you're using glycerin first of all, this is not oil. We do have oil pulling solutions that are fantastic for oral health. But if you're going to do this for oral health, mix it, do that 10% ratio that we talked about. You're going to be very happy about that.
Will it help with a bone fracture?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm assuming the bone just has to heal. So, you got to, I mean, I would guess ozone topically applied. Say ozone gas would probably be more beneficial if you could maybe bag the limb where that bone fracture was. That would be my recommendation.
So I wanted to also let you know that in the recent New Science and Wisdom of Menopause Summit, Tobias did a beautiful presentation on women's health and on the Peyronie's disease. It was really UTIs, all of the female issues, BV and all that. And if you decided to purchase something, from Tobias, and I mean like anything, even a soap or something, by 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight. This is just for those of you live. And if you're watching replay, I love you. Thank you for doing that. But this is just for those of you who showed up live. I will be sharing with you his class that, was only able, you can buy it for $59, or it was part of the summit. And you do need to let us know your proof of purchase tonight, please, not tomorrow, but tonight by 8 p.m. Eastern time. So just a little incentive for you to at least like dip your toe in. Could you use the product in an enema? Oh, Nicole, great question.
We are in the process of experimenting with that solution. Let's just say it's coming. Okay.
Okay. Can it help with pain from a bad injury from a wreck 10 years ago, nerve damage and broken compound bones? Oh, Christy, I'm so sorry.
I know ozone is really good for revitalizing. We see here's the problem when something's that old, like you're going to notice a lot more benefits if you hit it earlier. It's a hard one to answer. You may see some benefit, but the earlier you can get to something, the more beneficial, the better it's going to be.
Okay. Let's see. Do you get a Herxheimer reaction?
If you orally consume it, you can definitely. I've had some people who, if they take too much of it, it'll give them like the runs a little bit. So I would say you can definitely you can maybe get a little bit of like queasy feeling. So yeah,
you may. Yeah, I mean it makes sense. You're killing off some things, and so they do have that. Let's see. I have a bottle from you. How do I make the 10% solution?
So the easiest way to do a 10% solution is to take a syringe. Like any syringe will work. Just pull out the plunger and just pour in, let's just say if this is a 60 cc syringe, pour in 6 mils and then pour in the rest water and then go like that. And then, just squirt it into
water or saline, because there's a difference.
It depends on what you're using. If you're doing for an oral rinse, water. If you're using it for nebulizing, do saline. Anything in the eyes, use saline. Nebulizing, eye health, that's all going to be saline. And also the nose, make sure it's saline. I think it works better. If you're doing oral consumption, don't do saline. Obviously, it's going to be too salty. But that's a really easy way to mix it. Just use a syringe that has all these cool little measurements on it. It tells you how much is in there. Just pour it in there and then you're good to go.
There you go. Why would you choose ozonated glycerin over ozonated water?
That is a really good question. So I love ozone water. Let me just put it that way. The problem with ozone water is it lasts for about, 30 minutes to an hour. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So 30 minutes to an hour versus 90 days,
Okay, well, there's a difference there, right? Okay, does using it internally, we did that. So should we take a binder maybe? Of course, talk to your provider.
Yeah, you could.
It just really is going to depend on what you're up to with it.
Yes.
Let's see. The other thing is if you do make a purchase by 8 p.m. tonight, then we will also send you the slides too. So that's a second.
Okay.
That's a second bonus. Do you recommend this for fibromyalgia?
I don't see why not. I mean, fibromyalgia, there's still a lot of unknowns with it. I mean, it's just it's more than anything like nerve pain. I would love to say yes, but it's a tough one to answer. So
should we know about any contraindications?
To our knowledge, there's no contraindications right now.
Okay. Could it get rid of bone spurs?
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Can you use an ozone glycerin for gut inflammation? I say yeah.
Absolutely.
You've been talking
Absolutely.
about that.
That's really what we're shooting for is the gold. We really want to see it work for that.
Can you use ozone glycerin with DMSO?
Yes.
Okay. How would we use it for Hashimoto's?
If I would say you're going to probably consume maybe like a teaspoon a day to see if that helps out.
Okay. Have you had success treating neuropathy and or balance issues with ozone, especially in elderly people? It really would depend on why they had balance issues. That could be from inner ear, that could be from muscle, that could be
Yeah.
from being sedentary. So it's a little,
I would say try ear insufflations with
Mhm.
ozone. For neuropathy, yes. So we're seeing a lot of people using their limb bagging their legs for neuropathy. Ozone's going to stimulate new blood vessel growth. It's amazing at that. Hands down, it's going to be fantastic for neuropathy.
Let's talk parasites, America's favorite topic. Okay, how is it for parasites?
I personally think this is going to be phenomenal for parasites. And same
Okay.
with ozone water, great for parasites. There's a lot of parasite forms that are getting into ozone. Ozone suppositories, yes, for parasites. I think if you're going to get on a parasite protocol, maybe consider adding ozone to the mix as well.
Okay. What package do you recommend for Hashimoto's? I'm going to go ahead and go to the page.
You're going to go with we call it our basic insufflation package. It's going to hit rectal insufflation, vaginal insufflation. It's going to hit ozone water. It's going to hit ear insufflation. It's going to hit the major components needed to get started with ozone at home.
Hey,
So
so
first,
you go ahead.
yeah, first up is you got to pick your oxygen source, and there's a video that teaches you what to do.
So without watching the video, but do watch the video. If I wanted the oxygen tanks, and then do I need to pick one of these two Goldie things, the regulators?
Yeah, so one is medical and then one is industrial. So if you have a prescription, so you would go with the one that says medical. If you don't have a prescription and you are willing to go to a welding place to get a tank, you'd go with industrial. Or if you want us to just ship you everything, go with the red option.
Go with the red option and don't even worry about the things that look like gold tubes. So that's because see, that one has it already on top of the bottle. Okay, and then choose your ozone therapy package. Just getting started, there's your basic, comprehensive, there's the bigger, and you can see the two different. I wanted to show you, do either one of them come with the dental? I don't think so. Okay.
No, we don't have the dental mouthpiece right now.
Okay.
I'm working on getting those made. So
Okay. All right. And then here's some training. And then this is the ozone water that you can keep on
yeah,
your ozone water maker.
that's
right
great for
you.
oral health.
Can
Yeah,
you grab it? That's like the best countertop thing for your bathroom counter for brushing your teeth.
It's so easy to use. Like I'm adding water right now, and it takes 3 minutes to ozonate your water. And next thing you know, you have
salt drops in there first though, before you turn it on.
Yeah. And then you have great water for rinsing for oral health. And so I love it. You can pour it in your water pick. You can use it like that. And it's a really great option.
And then here's the capsules if you wanted to take them internally. Here are the suppositories, which you can do vaginally or rectally. Yep. Here's the tooth and gum support. That's ozonated oil. Then this crazy looking thing that looks like a disc is what I put in my fruits and veggies. If you go to Shivan Sarna TV on Instagram, you can see a little video of me doing that. I love this thing because I am highly paranoid. I have opened lettuce containers, even from triple washed, and found worms. Just don't even get me started about me. So yeah. Professional food farms, they do use ozone to clean produce. And then so just so you know, it's not like me making something up or like, Tobias on the side going, hey, you should do this. Like, this is literally a disc for fruits and vegetables. And it feels really weird the first time you put it in the water because you're like, oh, I would be electrocuting myself now. The answer is no. It's very, very protected. And you put it in there, you put your fruits and veg, you sort of just like whoosh it around like a couple of times within 10 minutes. I can't believe the difference. Like, think about it. I want you all to have a healthy microbiome, so I'm not opposed to having a little bit of dirt here and there, but I juice a lot. And so I really just I'm consuming a lot of fruits and veg. So I wanted to make sure it was really clean. So anyway, that's one of my favorites. And then the soap, I love the soap, which has the ozone-infused.
It smells so good. It has like an ozone release smell, and it actually find it incredibly soothing, as weird as that sounds.
It's lovely. It's lovely. Okay. I don't want to really go into the direction of cancer, and I'm so sorry. My mother had skin cancer. My mother had lymphoma. Believe me, I'm with you 100%. But being very safe and very responsible here, what would you say about folks with skin cancer would there be any harm in putting some ozone topically on that?
I don't think there would be any harm. If you don't mind kind of, and this is like completely like off the record when it comes to like treating cancers.
Keep it clean.
Yes. Clean. Okay.
Okay.
Really like as far as like the glycerin goes, like it's not going to negatively affect putting it on pretty much any spot on the body. I mean, you can try it. There's really no reaction that takes place. You're not going to see like redness. Put it on and see what happens. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? I don't think you're going to notice negative stuff coming about with putting glycerin on your skin.
I mean, you can go to the health food store, which doesn't mean that everything's safe everywhere, but you can go to the health food store and buy glycerin. Yeah. So if you missed part of the presentation, we are going to send out the replay tonight. This is ozone therapy you can do at home, including the new development with glycerin, including things you can do for your oral health, as well as topical insufflation, which means putting gas into an orifice, basically. Do you ship to Australia?
All the time.
Okay. I see the insufflation bags, but not the limb bags. Are they still in stock, Tobias?
They're still in stock. Just type in LIMB bags and they'll pop right up.
Okay. What is the most amount of ozone water you can consume daily for fighting infections? How much can you consume a day for overall health? What's your suggestion?
So this is super easy. Just go by how you feel. Like, I mean, I've seen people consume 32 ounces, 64 ounces a day. Just go by how you feel. Ozone water has an interesting taste. I wouldn't say it's bad. I wouldn't say it's amazing. But you can definitely feel it working. Don't overdo it. Just my goal is to go low and slow with new people. Just go low, slow, see how you feel. I'm not a believer that when you do a therapy, you should feel like crap afterwards. I think you should feel fantastic. Okay. That's my belief. If you're doing something, I want you to feel amazing. Don't do it to the point where you're going to feel bad.
Okay, you guys, can you eat? Can you eat? I'm hungry, I guess, and we're wrapping up. Christy, hey, do you have to drink ozonated water on an empty stomach?
I think it's better to do that. You're going to have more benefit that way.
Do you offer payment plans for the full ozone packages?
Yes, we do. So if you add it to your cart, get to the payment, get to the end where you add your credit card, you'll see an option for bread. It's a financing option. So you'll have up to like 18 months of financing with different interest rates available. So tons of options available.
Can you use distilled water instead of saline for the nebulizing for chest infections?
You can. Yeah, we see a lot of people using distilled water as well. So yeah, you can do that.
Okay. I'm running out of time, you guys. I am late and over. If you have any other questions, can they reach out to sales?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they can. Let me put my email in the chat.
That's fancy.
It's super, super. I'm going to do my best to get back to everybody as fast as possible.
Oh, I love it when you do that, Tobias. Thank you.
Send me an email directly with any questions. I just posted it.
Okay, that's VIP stuff right there, people.
This is
VIP stuff.
I get a lot of emails, but give me a couple days to respond to everybody. And I would, here's the thing. Like, I love talking about this stuff. Like, the new stuff is like, it just excites me. What I love more than anything is seeing fantastic reviews come in. I want to see people benefiting from these new products out there. Honestly, it helps me learn what people are experiencing so I can help people better. It also teaches us what to come out with next, what new products to come out with, how to make them better. So any questions that you guys have, send them my way. I'm here to help. Shivan, you've been amazing. I always love what you
let me bossing you around. My pleasure, Tobias. Anytime, my friend. Anytime. Hang on. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording. I want to just tell you all one thing. Okay.